Let's start off and talk about the Senate Republicans outlined their agenda earlier this week. Are they sticking with their campaign promises? What do they want to do?
Yeah, very much so. There was no real surprises. There was an opportunity on Wednesday when Senator Bingman, the President Pro Tem, and many of his colleagues presented the Republican legislative agenda for the 2011 session. No shocks. However, there was a little bit of antsiness on the part of those of us that are reporters to try to get some specifics. We didn't get a lot of specifics. However, Senator Bingman, to his credit, is sticking to what he's been saying consistently. He thinks that budget gap for this coming year is closer to the total of $6.7 billion that was spent. They've got $6.1 billion coming in, so he's saying it's a $600 million gap rather than the lower $225 to $250 million that the Board of Equalization and former Treasurer Meacham have said. So in other words, 8, 9, 10% budget cuts unless they can find some unexpected efficiencies or the cash flow improves even more than is projected. So that's going to be a big, tough assignment.
And but you can't get them to be specific about where they're going to make any cuts.
The cuts were, I think you'll still see a Republican version, if I dare say, of what's happened in the past. There'll be an effort to protect corrections, to protect education, especially common education comparatively. But I don't think the outcome will be low single-digit cuts for those agencies. I still think they're going to endure cuts. Corrections might be an exception. There's already talk of an early session supplemental. But in any case, the Republicans rhetorically in the Senate at least are sticking to their guns. They're talking about further education reform, further support for charter schools. They did say another area I guess I would point to is transportation might be relatively exempt because the Republicans are proud of having formed with former Governor Henry a pretty robust bridges and road repair and construction program. So they'll try to keep that in place. It all adds up, though. It's going to be tough. Now, on the flip side, on Wednesday night I was able to interview Senator Rice, and he was pretty supportive of the general tone and rhetoric that the Republicans took. It was clear they were trying to work with their colleagues in the way they framed issues. He said, about 4 times in 10 minutes, he said, just don't go too far. Just don't go too far. I think that's a fair way to summarize the Democrat leader's response to what Senator Bingman had to say. They have a decent personal relationship, so we'll see what that means when the rubber hits the road.
Anything else you need to say about that?
No, that's it.
Okay. All right, let's talk about the latest with the Nicole Henry law and the districts in eastern Oklahoma that have not been following it. Our new Attorney General has taken a stance on this.
Yeah, the Lindsey Nicole Henry Scholarship Program, as it's called, was the program created for special needs children to allow parents to have the empowerment to use the resources that go to special education as they see fit. As you probably remember, because we've discussed it previously on News 9, a total of 7 school districts for a time defied implementation of that law. That's dropped to 4. The 4 districts received from Attorney General Pruitt a letter telling them that they'll begin enforcing the law by Monday, the 24th, or he'll take action in keeping with his powers as Attorney General of the state of Oklahoma. And the 4 districts are Broken Arrow, Jinx, Union, and Liberty. The Superintendent of Public Instruction, Janet Barisi, said this is a serious matter. And in that regard, she was echoing her predecessor, Sandy Garrett, who disagreed with all 7 of those school districts when they took that action and was very public about it. Jason Nelson here in Oklahoma City, the lead sponsor of the legislation, said that they've had enough time to decide whether or not to enforce the law, and he applauded Pruitt for his action. This could get serious, we'll see. But Pruitt's basic point is it's not your job to decide selectively which laws to enforce. You enforce the laws, and then if there's litigation and the laws are reversed or tinkered with by the judiciary, that's the proper function of the courts. So this is headed towards a pretty good little legal confrontation that could become a big legal confrontation depending on how the next few days go.
good.
Thanks.